Lane, and he goes, oh, brother, it looks like somebody's going to have a party tonight. I'm like, yeah, this really big party, and why don't you come along? Here's, you know, like, 'cause that's what you do when you're in college. You invite, like, anybody off the street, or just, like, anybody that you see, you know, anybody possibly bad. Old Chinese people try to put, like, and so he was like, oh, cool, maybe I will. And he started to ring up the milk, and the bill was getting higher and higher and higher. And I looked in my pockets, and I realized I didn't have the milk money. I had not misplaced it, but I had left the milk money in the dormitory. And I'm like, dude, I am so sorry I left the milk money. And he goes, I got you covered. I will take a check. Now, nobody takes a check from college students because we all write bad checks, right? That's the rule. But he said, that's cool. He goes, just put your current information on that, and I'll take it. And so I pull out my checkbook, and I'm starting to write a check for all this milk. And then I hear tap, tap, tap. And then slowly, this perfume comes up around me and says, hello. And I'm like, trying to write my check, and I'm not going to look back, because that's pathetic. I'm not going to go, oh, you know, like, I'm not going to do that, right? Because I'm serious. So the perfume's all around me, and I'm like, wow, and I got to get out of here, and the radar's going off, abort, get out. So finally, I write the check, and the guy's looking. The guy, right? He's kind of this Wyatt French-looking guy, and he's kind of like looking over at the girl, like, and I'm like, maybe you have a chance, but I don't, so I'm just gonna go, right? So I pay for it, takes the check, and I push the buggy out through the doors, out into the parking lot, and I load like 7 tons of milk into my little Volkswagen Bug, and I started up, and I drive off to the party. And long story short, what time do we actually get out?
We have an hour.
Like an hour.
We have a full hour.
Good, 'cause it's a long story. So I get back to the party, and it is a good party. It's fun. There's gobs of people, gobs of friends. Kevin tried to introduce me to some girls. That was all right. But at the end of the evening, I was like, you know, great music, great time and everything, but I didn't think my world had changed at all. And so I was slowly starting to get depressed. The floor of my dorm room was covered with milk, and I had to clean it up, so like most of the other dorm rooms. And then Kevin says, he goes, did you enjoy the party? And I'm like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And he goes, did you get any numbers? And I'm like, yeah. And it's a ticket. I got 5 numbers. 5 people who really want to date me. So 5, but so he goes, that's great, that's awesome. He goes, dude, I'm not sleeping here tonight. So like, and I'm like, cool, who are you sleeping with tonight? And so I get into my little bunk bed and I cover up and I fall asleep. And I crack the window a little bit to let some of the cold night air in, you know? Live on the 2nd floor, it's okay. And 2:30 in the morning, the phone rings. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. No, I don't answer this. No, he's not here. He's sleeping with somebody else. Ring, ring, ring. It was really getting annoying, right? Ring, ring, ring. Finally, it just wouldn't drop. So I'm like, finally, I'm like, hello? Hello? He's not here. He's sleeping with somebody else. What's your name? Okay, I'll put you down in the cage, right? Like, and the voice on the other end, it was the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. It was a crazy beautiful voice. Like, the most excellent voice ever, right? And it said, do you remember me? And I'm like, I'm trying to rifle through all the people that I met at the party. I'm like, what did I actually get him? Okay, I don't remember this. Did Kevin like play a joke on me? This is a horrible joke, right? So, and the voice said, I can't believe you don't remember me. Our eyes met in the Albertsons tonight. Nope. I sucked a tremendous amount of air into my lungs, like this, trying. So then I was like, oh my God, I gotta be cool, I gotta be cool. I'm like, yeah, I think I remember you, right? You were white voice. And the voice on the other end of the phone said, do you want to meet me? Do you want to meet me? And I'm like, yes! So total, and I'm not really this kind of guy. Nothing, like I'm not a crazy guy. I don't take risks, especially with this. But this was like something off a risky business. I'm like, yes! If you haven't seen the film, but yeah, it's funny. I'm like, yes, I want to meet you. Tomorrow, let's see, Saturday, I got this, some coursework project I'm doing with some friends. Shit, the voice said no. Tonight. The voice said, there's a park on the north side of Denton. Close to where we live. Do you know where it is? Yes, I know the park. I know the park. But I didn't talk about it. I was trying. Yes, I know the park. You know? Okay. She said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'll be there. I got out of bed. I threw on my jeans and a t-shirt and a purple camouflage jacket. Because it was the 80s. Okay. And I combed my hair. Tonight. So I'm living like the little kid from Risky Business. I'm combing my hair, trying to brush my teeth, trying can't mess this up. Don't mess this up, right? And at the same time, I'm going, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. This is completely crazy. Go downstairs, get into my baby blue chip magnet, and I'm driving to the park. And as I'm driving to the park, I have two things in mind. A, I'm going to have to say something to her. That's not as easy as you might think, right? No, so like, what am I going to say? It's got to be cool. It's got to be cool, right? So I'm trying to think like a line of poetry, some quote from something. Like, I'm trying to think of like all the cool movies I've seen with cool guys and things they've said. I'm trying to think like of all the one-liners. Hey, you look good on me. Like all those things. And I'm like, no, reject that. I can't do that. It's got to be different. I don't know, what does this situation call for? So I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, and then I got this awkward walk. I don't know if any of you have noticed that, but I got this really goofy look. Like, when I'm not thinking about it, I'm walking down the hall. Usually I'm trying to think about it, I'm walking down the hall. You can see me do that sometimes and laugh at it, because when I get conscious of my posture, but so I'm thinking, on the second thing, I gotta get out of my car and walk towards her. Honest to goodness, I'm thinking this, right? And I gotta walk cool. Right? Those are the two things that I'm thinking. That's what my mind is occupied with while I'm driving out there. So I'm trying to think of all the movies where guys walk cool, right? And it's really hard to do. Like Rambo, no, that's not a cool walk. And so I pull up to the park. There's nobody else out there, of course, because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I see her. There's a hill, and there's a table on top of the hill, and it's surrounded with this little grove of trees. And here's the moon. It's like out of some picture book, right? And there she is, sitting on the table in this flowy white dress with the black hair and the red lips and black eyes, just staring at me, just staring at me. And I collected myself. And I open my door, and I step out, I stumble. And I get out, and I'm walking up there, and I'm still trying to think. Now that I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say, I forget about how I'm going to walk, I can't do those two things at the same time, so I'm trying to walk up like, and so I'm walking towards her, or I'm being drawn towards her, and I get up to her, and this is the most embarrassing, I don't know what I'm going to tell you this, but this is the most embarrassing thing. She's smiling as I'm walking, like she knows, like I'm in some sort of Death Star tractor beam, and I can't escape, and I'm like autopilot now, I just have to walk. And she knows it, because she's got this little smile on her face, like she knows the control she has, right? And but I was so busy thinking about what I was going to say to her that I didn't even care, humility aside. So I walk up to her and, oh my God, I swear this is totally true. The first thing I said to her, do you know what I said? I said, thank you. That's what I do. the best I could do under the circumstances. I guess you're so welcome. So we started talking, and we condensed this part of the story. She likes literature, I like literature. She likes poetry, I like poetry. She's an interior design major and a fashion major. I could tell from her outfit. She was one of those that, she had money. She was driving a BMW over here, and it didn't look used. She was a student. She was a little bit older than me, but not too much older. And basically, everything was, I was like, hey, this is like the most perfect thing in the world. We talked and talked and talked, and I tried to tell some jokes, and she laughed mercifully. And so it was great. And then at the end of the conversation, she was like, do you want to see me again? I'm like, that's a lovely idea. I want to. Yep. So that would be great. That would be great. And so we started today. Okay, so condensing this little part of the story. We started today.
15 minutes.
If a girl is totally crazy, he don't necessarily show that to you all at once. It's a slow trickle. It's a slow little, it's like a Chinese water torture. Just a slow drop on your head, right? So every once in a while too. And what's weird is while that craziness is happening, you're still weighing this, I'm so lucky. And my roommates were like, when they met her, when she would come over, like only at night, we could never go out during the day. She would never see me during the day. Well, I don't know. I'll let you decide. My friends were like, dude, how did you do that? I don't know. Kevin was like, oh my God, how did you? I'm like, I don't know. I do. Lucky me. And nobody could figure it out. I was like this hero. I was walking around like this. This is the girl that just picked me up in the BMW. Yeah. That's my girl. That's like, everybody like, proof, not like it was a crazy time. And I was trying to figure it out myself. There was no reason this would happen. Zero. And so, but slowly, things started to get weird. First of all, she wouldn't go out during the day. She wouldn't go out at night. Oh, I got to tell you this part real fast. This part is from the part that I'm condensing. She lives on the square in downtown Denton in a loft across from the courthouse. The loft is an old hardware store. And you know those shotgun lofts? Plate glass windows, like 5 feet high, 5 of them in the front, curtains, you know. The way you get up to her apartment is you park on the street, and then there's a door on the street, and you open it up, and it leads to a gigantic staircase, gigantic wooden staircase. At the top of the staircase, there's a light bulb hanging. You turn left, you open the door, and you go into her apartment. So here's her apartment. It's the size of a roller skating rink. Not really. That's, in my imagination it is. But it was big. All wood floors. There are 3 rooms. One is a kitchenette that's really separated by just a partition with a false wall. It's a wall that doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's like a ledge. Most of the apartment, 75% of this, is just like open space. Like a roller skating rink. You walk back past the kitchen, and then there's partitioned off a bedroom. 5 plate glass windows on the back. She's got 2 pieces of furniture in the bedroom. One, an old, really super antique armoire. It's like carved with lion's paws, and you know one of those, right? Super antique. And a bed. Here's what the bed looks like. 4-poster bed with drapes all around the side, and a roof. 3 feet off the ground, centered in the room. One gigantic Ark of the Covenant bed. It's the kind with drapes and like, right? Yeah. Crazy. It is like, you know, some holy stone from Mecca is kept inside there. It's the only thing in the room. In the living room, in the living space, she is an interior design major. So she's got little, try to imagine this, little islands of little sofas, small sofas, like love seats. There's an island here, there's an island over here, there's an island over here, and way over here There's another island.